So, hello everyone. I'm just going to go to show you my boxes briefly, and in some of the future videos I'll go in more detail. One of the viewers asked me to explain logic behind my boxes. So this is my box that I use most often when it comes to dries, and I just use this corner here because it has ants, some terrestrials, and that's it. Everything else is like I can just throw it away for the local fishing. When it comes to trout fishing, it's excellent. So this is one of the boxes, and then nymph box that I use rather frequently, but this is not my normal nymph box because my regular nymph box would be full of pheasant tails, but my regular nymph box I've sent to Mongolia for a friend. And then there is another nymph box that I use here, and this is my go-to because it's full of damselflies. I fish slow water, so this is my go-to nymph box here. Then I have a nymph box that I've started to fill in with nymphs that I tied during my videos, and then I will do a giveaway in some future, not sure when. Then there is something that's called grayling box, and here you have caddisflies and ants, a couple of ants. Then I have some 32s here, usually no hackle flies mostly, and then I have mayflies here. It's like, as you can see, it's almost empty, so rather disappointing for someone who has a tying channel on YouTube. Then I have those flies that most of them I tied on my videos. These are mostly for heavy water, with some tiny ones for droppers. And this is just a random box, no logic behind it. This is old box that I don't use here, but this orange woolly bugger was given to me by one of the guys from French national team during World Championship. And this one I got from a guy from Canadian national team. And I have another box, I don't know where is it now. And this was small nymph box. I say was because a couple of years ago, like 5-6 years ago, this would be considered tiny. Right now half of this size is tiny, so these are small. These are like size 18, so this would be my selection of flies. And then I have this box which is like completely random. This is when I sit down by the bench and just tie, and as you can see, there is like complete randomness in this. There is even my first attempt of a salmon fly. I tried to tie a salmon fly with peacock female and male strips, so it's just randomness. There is an experiment with coq de leon here. See the parachute with coq de leon, and there is a rooster hackle parachute above it, just to give it a little bit of support. It does have some reactions from the fish, then some wet flies, some nymphs, and a complete randomness. And something that like will give you an idea what I use here the most is like my fly patch. Squirmies, I use them when I see carp around here. That's definitely good. Then, as I said, I use those damsels, wet flies, so everything is light here. On occasion, when I want to try something deeper, I do use a couple of those nymphs with tungsten. And then again, wet flies, ant. It was ant, but it was like chewed. Like it was, look at this one. This had peacock body, but look what's left. Almost nothing. Copper wire, that's it. So tilapias, they ripped it apart. Unfortunately, I don't have much chances to fish for fish that I want to. So yeah, that would be it. Will do a video. I'll start making a proper box, nymph box, and then proper dry fly box with my favorite flies, like super narrow selection of flies, and I will make a video like as it goes. So every time I make a video about some fly that will go in my box, I'll just insert a short clip in my video that I make. So guys, let's get into tying of one of the flies that I'll miss from my box. So here it is, virgin box, still unopened. As you can see, it's a small box. So here I will pack relatively small flies, not necessarily light flies. So one of those flies is going to be the one that I'm tying right now. So guys, this fly is going to be the part of the flies that I'm going to tie for the box that eventually at one point I'm just going to give away. There won't be any rules or whatever. I'm just gonna randomly pick the winner. So no sharing, nothing, just you have to be a subscriber, that's it. Like, and I'll do everything. I'll pay for everything myself, so I'll send it anywhere in the world. And this is going to be the first one of the flies that I'm going to tie, nymph flies, for my, let's say, go-to box. I'm gonna make 3 pieces each. Obviously I'm having like 4, I'm tying more now for myself, so I'm going to tie whatever I'm tying for myself, I'm going to tie for you as well, and lucky winner will be announced sometime in the future. So without any further ado, let's jump into tying. So before I start tying, I'll just introduce materials. For the hook I'm using, as you can see, no brand 18 size jig hook, because obviously I need a small fly. I will use one of the 3mm tungsten beads. In this case it's going to be silver. For the tail, coq de leon. The reason behind these things, tail is just, I love how it looks. Tungsten bead and the hook is just something that I usually do. And for the body, it's going to be turkey biot, which I'm just running out, as you can see, so in black at least. So I'm just panicking right now. And for the ribbing part, it's going to be silver wire, which is not in front of me, so excuse me for that. And thorax is going to be purple, so it's variation of zebra midge, let's call it like that, but it's just probably generic small dark nymph. Purple I use because I think it's a trigger for fish. I do think that fish see this one better, and this one, unlike for example hairline, it has much finer fibers, which I'm not sure how much you can see, but let me just try to pull it out and then focus first. So I don't know how much you can see, but these fibers are so nice and fine that it is incredible. So as I was saying, we are going to tie this fly. It's one of the flies that I like to use when it comes to small flies. Black biot, coq de leon for the tail, silver ribs, and more or less looks like a zebra midge. Then we have CDC for movement and some purple dubbing for just added attraction. Oops. Now, I'm gonna start with placing the hook in the vise. Hook is size 18. Just make sure it's secured. And then I'm going to use thread that is Nano Silk Semperfli 12-0, or it's 50 in here. And in this case, just start near the bead and work your way towards the hook band with flat thread. Now, when you reach a certain point, just stop. I mean, by now, this GSP, slippery GSP, is quite well secured, and you can stop. So, when using coq de leon, just try to find which angle, so angle it compared by the radius and see where it's going to be aligned, where tips are going to be aligned. Catch it with your fingers firmly and then just pull. So it doesn't mean that butt ends, if they are aligned, the tips are going to be aligned. As you can see here, those are not aligned and tips are. So next step is to just decide on the length, and in this case I don't have a measure, like just eyeball it whatever, and then I'll start wrapping towards the bead. And that's why by creating these two layers here and the third one as I go back, I'm creating a taper. Flat threads allows me to make this taper very smooth, and buildup is less pronounced this way. Now, the next thing I want to add is silver wire. I'm adding it on the near side of the hook. I'm just trying to catch it near the end. Let me see if it's quite near. It's not. Okay, like so. And then this is it, almost to the bend, and then I will stop. Now, third material. So we have tail wire, then we have third material, which is biot, and this one is the lower end of the feather, which means I have shorter biot here. Luckily, I'm working on a small hook, so it's okay. Well, almost okay. As I did in a video called Turkey Biot Quill, Turkey Biot Trick, I will link it somewhere around. Try to cut the biot lengthwise. Okay, I'll just do it off the screen maybe, yeah, like so. By doing so, this will allow you to come closer to the bead without having bulk. Let me see if I did everything right. Okay, yeah. So I'll show you now. So I cut everything down. I narrowed the biot, and this flat, so there is, I hope you can see, there is this curved edge over here and flat edge over here. Now I'm placing this flat edge downwards, but because I'm going to put it on the top, it's going to be actually towards me. And the reason why I'm putting it on the top is because I want to catch it. I want to catch it by the tip, and when I start ribbing, I want to go through those biot ribs with the wire. Now, to protect everything from the teeth of the trout, I want to add some glue, super glue gel, and as you can see, it's like tiny amount of it. Try to, I'll just distribute it like so, a couple of places. It's not a big amount, you just need a little bit to hold everything on. And then start working biot towards the bead. Also, as you can see, the super glue is going to distribute itself because the biot is going to push it in front of it. Oops. I broke it, or I cut it. I think. Yeah, I cut it. I need to reduce the pressure on this hackle pliers. And this is it. So, by doing this, creating slight taper, we got this slightly tapered body. Okay, done. A couple of more wraps. It's hidden. Now, I'm going to show you something. I hope you can see it on the camera. There is a gap here between this little rib and this little rib, and I'm gonna place my wire, well, I'm gonna try at least, right about there, and then just correct those tails, and then go with the rest of these ribs, just go through those segments, and then that's it. As you can see, I'm gonna just make a little note here for you guys. By doing so, placing the wire towards me and placing the tails here, the first rep is going to be almost over the tails. As you can see, they're a little bit slightly bent towards down now. It's because I pushed it with wire. When you do the wire, pull the tail slightly towards you to compensate for that, and the tails are going to be straight. Not a big deal for the fish, it may be a big deal for you. Now, next step is to flatten the thread, like so. And when you flatten the thread, you can just hang it or spin it counterclockwise. And when you flatten the thread, you're able to obviously split it. And then use relatively bad CDC. If you don't have bad, use good one. Place it in the clip. And that's it. So I'm not going to use the whole feather here. I'm going to use like 1/3 of it, I guess. Like this. It's a little bit less than half of one side, so I don't know, my math sucks. Anyway, split the thread. And good thing about GSP is that by splitting the thread, you're not reducing the strength of it too much, because it's already super strong, so you're not gonna do anything bad. Now use tiny little bit amount of purple dubbing and place it anywhere down this split thread. And as you can see, it's quite small dubbing noodle. It's like, this is hook size 18, so just you can see how small it is. Now I said place it down below because it's easier to do with to go there with your clip, and then just pinch it between those two strands of thread. Pinch those CDC, and then with your thumb and any index finger slide everything up. Place your index finger here and create 90 degrees angle, and then spin your bobbin clockwise. Just spin it until it becomes boring, and then just go with your thread, with your fingers along the thread up like so, and help it twist a little bit more. Okay, then I'll just shorten the noodle, keeping the tension all the time, and go. This is it. Tighten the last one as much as you can. Now, important step, counter spin the bobbin, because you were spinning it clockwise when you were making the dubbing loop tighter. Counter spin it to flatten out a little bit this thread, and then, because you don't have a head to work and to go one rep with the whip finisher by next one, you're going to go one on the top of each other. So I'll do 2 whip finish knots just in case, because by doing one rep on the top of another, you're not making making the knot stronger, you're making it actually weaker. So that's the only reason why I'm doing 2 knots here. And this is it. Finished fly. Super easy tie. Looks super good. Catches fish even better. Now let me tell you something about like when I use this one, how I use it, and so on. So because this is relatively tiny fly, size 18, 3mm bead, you're definitely not going to go super deep with this one. One of the ways to reach some depths is to have longer drift, obviously, so the fly will have some time to sink down. The other way, which is more like the common one, is to use very thin tippet, let's say 6x, 7x, 8x, even thinner if you can find. It will allow your fly to drift, to sink much deeper. Then at the beginning of your drift, if you want it to go faster down, make everything loose. Like You will not have any control at the beginning, but make everything very loose. Like try to make a free fall, free sink fall for the fly. So don't keep any tension on your system. This will allow your fly to sink deeper. Obviously, while it sinks, you're not going to have any feeling if the fish took the fly or not. But when you think it's down, just start to drift, tighten everything up. You can twitch it slightly to tighten the tippet through the water column, and then have more control, and then just fish it nice. Or if you like to use two flies, which I don't like, honestly, then just make a heavy dropper below it, and that's it. It's super easy. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your time. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and see you next week.